Welcome to Fear Babes Podcast, a paranormal podcast founded and hosted by Fear fan members.
All thoughts and opinions are strictly our own, and we are not affiliated with any shows in any way.
My name is Burgundy.
My name is Madeline.
And we are...
the Fear Babes.
Perfect intro. I don't even need to do one now. What I was gonna do before that beautiful introduction was, hey, how's it going?
It's perfect. It's beautiful.
I decided, welcome back to Fear Babes, first of all. Second of all, I decided I have to hold my mic because I always sound far away for whatever reason. Like, it doesn't matter. I have my settings all the way up. Can you even tell?
Yeah, you have it all the way
butt
up.
cheek. It's on the little booty, like it's supposed to be, and it's all the way up. And yet, I always sound like I'm 50 yards away from the microphone.
I need like a microphone technologist to explain the science behind that one.
Is it because
I don't get it.
Well, you used to have this on air too, though. Is this better?
I did.
It looks snaky. I don't like it like that.
I know. I hate it, but I have no idea where it is.
Did you dog eat it?
Honestly, I'm starting to wonder if I dropped it in the laundry and it disintegrated. No joke.
Party foul.
I want to get a pink one.
How am I supposed to make facial expressions like this?
You can just...
Until I get Botox and I can't move the fucking forehead
So you'll just be like...
What a mess.
What is going on right now?
Who even knows? By the way, people, it is very, very late for us, so yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, and I have had a couple of drinks at this point because I just got back from a party, so I'm just kind of like... Party. I told Berg, I'm like, just so you know, I am a little
tipsy.
Gone.
Just kidding.
So I'm really hoping I'm coherent for this. This is not an after dark. It's a normal one. It's a normal podcast.
The problem with me not having my mic on the stand is, like, normally when we're not on video, I tend to do stuff like this while I'm talking. And so we're just like, do, and I'll just, like, spin around. But now we're on video, so I probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah. It's fine.
So now I'm just going to
okay.
right here. But I'll probably do this a lot.
Lord have mercy. Anyway, so I want you guys to know this is the Saturday before Paracon. So this time in a week, we will be in Pennsylvania at Paracon.
Yes. So we're hype about that. So I told Mads,
Yes.
hold on.
Oh,
That's the
sick.
problem with being on video.
You look like you had so
stuff.
much. I just thought you were trying to riz us up because you were like...
Do you want me to?
Yeah.
Do you want... No, there's a wire right there. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, hot.
Look at this one hair, though. Like, why doesn't it always curl like that? Like,
It's a vibe. That looks good.
I don't know what it's doing. My hair has a mind of its own. What was I going to say?
Same.
Oh, I told Mads I'm going to have a hard time. Okay, so we have a very specific topic for the podcast today, and we're going to get into it in a minute. But I told Mads, I was like, dude, I watched so much, and I've researched so much, and I don't know if I retained anything because there's, like, this, like, kind of, like, interesting situation I'm dealing with on the sidelines right now.
Yeah.
And also, on the other side, the flip side, I'm starting to get hyped for Pennhurst. So I'm like, I swear I have infos in here somewhere about our topic, but it'll just come with you talking, I'm sure, because I'm like, I feel very unprepared right now.
I actually do feel unprepared. Like, I've had a lot going on this week. Like, yes, we're prepping for the Paracon. Like, I didn't realize when we were first talking about this a year ago how much work was going to be put into all of the last minute preparations and just the preparations in general. So I'm just like kind of low key tweaking out. Like, I'm like, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like,
well, not only that, but like the random shit that we had to like remember to get, and I still don't even know. By the way, do you care if we talk about the merch on here?
No, we should talk about it probably.
Okay, cool. So, first of all, I'll show the stickers I made today. So today I made 56 of these. I don't even know if you can hold on.
Hold on, you're gonna have to like do
on.
beauty guru it.
I'm just gonna shut the ring light off for a second. Sorry, guys. Flip, you bitch.
She's queen.
Oh my heck.
Put your hand behind it.
I'm gonna put my mic down, so I'm gonna sound 50,000 years old. Fucking. You know what we'll do? I'll do it this way.
Hold on. Struggle.
I'll email it to myself and share screen. How about that? Anyways, so we also got keychains. And so Dawn just now today, my dad, he ordered us like a bracelet stand. Holy shit. Talk about whitewashing. Okay. He ordered us a bracelet stand or like a necklace stand for us to put our keychains on, like just today. So I'm like, all of the random shit that we have to get to set up our booth. You know what I mean, Veen?
Yeah, shout out Mom and Dawn because they have really come in clutch this last week. They just randomly started being like, but guys, like, what if we do this? What if this is the thing? Like, y'all should do this. And like, they've really come in clutch.
Yeah,
because it's stuff I haven't even thought about. Like the little necklace bracelet holder stand thing. I wasn't even thinking about that at all. But I was talking to Janice tonight because shout out Janice. She's loaning us our tables and tablecloths. I was talking to her tonight. I was like, I'm gonna have to come to your house Monday or Tuesday so I can get those tables. And she's like, okay, I'll be on. I was like, thank God, because it's coming up fast.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm like,
whoa.
Mom's like, do you guys have Sharpies? Do you need a business card holder? Like, I'm like, shit, bro. Like, hold on. I wasn't even thinking about any of that. You know what I mean?
I almost thought about a business card holder.
Save image. I'm just gonna
probably
right
should get one last minute, just like from Amazon.
We might have one in Mom and Dad's office.
Look, you guys, you're viewing this live, like on the pod.
I need to find my downloads.
Like, we have so much, just again, it's just last minute things. Burgundy's flying. Like, we have to prep the car because me and Mom are driving up there. And like, it sounds like it's all simple, but like, road trips can be stressful 100%, let alone being,
can you see it?
You know, the responsible one. Yes, I can see it.
These are the stickers I made today.
Cute.
Okay, so we made 56 of those.
Yes.
And then we have little ones. Did I send myself a photo of that? Hold on.
I'm obsessed with the camo. Obsessed.
Should I tell the detrimental story of how it all came about?
You should. Yeah, you should.
Hold on a second. Let me find the little ones really fast.
Because it be wild.
Dude, I'm just glad I figured it out when I did.
I'm just glad we got the t-shirt aspect thing figured out because, you know, and whatever we don't sell at Paracon, we are going to sell to you guys, our listeners that want to support the pod because honestly, you know, we'll take that. Oh, cute.
So we do have shirts that have this photo on it as well. I designed this little guy, this little ghosty guy. He's a podcast mic. Then it says Fear Babes, obviously. And so
cute.
We made shirts that have that on it as well. We also have a shirt that's pretty Fear Babes coded in the sense that you have to be like an OG listener to really get the joke, which I think is great. And then, yeah, those stickers, we have other colors too. We have little ones coming in like a maroon burgundy color. Me. And then just a plain black one. So the black one you saw is actually sparkly. You just can't tell in the photo. And then We got the keychains. Am I missing something? Oh, I'm gonna make a handful of car fresheners.
Oh yeah.
That are ghost shaped. I did vanilla apple scent and teak wood.
Which they smell really good.
Teak wood.
Really good.
Teak wood peony, I think.
Yeah, it's teak wood peony.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So we got those coming. What?
Saying it just smells really good. Like
Yeah.
I as far as like scents go, I'm very particular about my scents. The vanilla scent is actually, it's still very like good and refreshing, but I am always going to be the person that leans more towards floral. I'm such a floral scent person, and like fresh scent. Oh, it's just so addicting.
I just love the smell of teak wood too. So
yeah,
but
teak wood is really good too.
You know, neutral scents that most people like.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It blends really well.
Yeah. So the sticker story. Here we go. So originally, those stickers I just shared with everybody, I had created, I want to say, maybe 65 of the big ones and probably almost the same amount of the little ones, okay? So I had made, we had various colors. We had like a navy blue, a light blue, a sparkly green, which those ones we can still use. I'll explain in a minute. A pink, a red, a mint color. I think that was it. Yeah. So.
Think so.
We made all these stickers, okay? We have to peel out, like, so it's all made on a Cricut, so it's all vinyl. And then we have to, like, all the white space you see on them, we have to take those out of the sticker. Like, it's cut and we have to, like, peel it out. So it's very time consuming. So me and one of my friends, she spent a couple weekends with me peeling all these stickers, creating them all. And then I put a transfer tape on top to preserve the sticker and also to assist, you know, when people buy them, they can use that to get them off and put them on, because there's like little lettering detail that could miss or not miss, you know, just for fun. And so my mom bought water bottles, like hydro flasks, to bring on this trip specifically, so that we could put our stickers on the hydro flasks for her to use so people could see them in action, right? And so I went to put them on last weekend, and the little sticker, the little ghosty Mike guy, it's just a no-go. Like, I put the sticker on, it wouldn't come off the transfer tape. If I did try to get it off the transfer tape, it got distorted and then also broke apart piece by piece. And then the big stickers, I could get them to transfer. I put one on my dad's iPad case just to test it out. The big ones would transfer, but they also got distorted and they were so hard to transfer over, and then the transfer tape had left residue behind on this whole sticker. And so I was very pissed off, and I text Mads and I was like, we have a fucking problem, because I cannot in good faith sell any of these to anybody at all. I would feel so fucking horrible if I had sold those and they had come out like that for people. I probably would have cried and buried my face and quit the podcast and like deleted all my socials and just never come back out of hiding from that. So
no. Yeah, there's just no way that was happening.
No fucking way. So part of the problem was the vinyl that I purchased was not Cricut brand, so it was an off-brand, and it was from Hobby Lobby. I don't even remember which brand I bought. I would maybe name drop. I'm not name dropping though. But it was also on sale at the time, so I guess you get what you pay for. But yeah, these other ones are a lot more durable. I did test them today, Mads. Don't you worry. I'm also not putting the transfer tape on this early. We will just hand cutouts of transfer tape out with the stickers. People can do that part themselves. That way, maybe part of it was they had been on there for a couple of days or weeks at a time, you know. So I don't know. I also bought a different type of transfer tape, so
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
like a different brand and everything. So yeah,
That's fun.
yeah, this vinyl, the material is definitely like the other ones were. They felt like, I don't know how to describe it. It just felt like thin, flimsy.
Yeah.
These ones are way more durable. Like,
Good.
the iridescent one, it almost
Mm-hmm.
like Ryan was like, this kind of feels like you're like breaking glass when we're like peeling them out. So
Weird.
yeah, yeah, but they are a lot more durable and they transfer so beautiful. Especially, I tried the camo one, and I tried the not the like straight iridescent one, but the iridescent one with pattern on it.
Cute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I am not usually a camo girly, but I say that and I have like camo stuff, but like hear me out. There's just certain things that draw me to camo and I'm obsessed with the camo. Like when I saw that I was like, oh, need.
isn't it cute? Yeah. So,
So cute.
those ones are gonna be limited edition. So they are
Mm-hmm.
gonna be a little bit more than our other stickers we are providing. Same designs, but like solid color.
Mm-hmm.
Just normal, regular old stickers. I didn't make these other ones handmade, so these ones are limited edition, and I think they're fun. So I'm excited. The reason the glittery one, the only one that's salvageable from the first fucking round, the glittery one is because of the glitter texture. The transfer tape does not hold to that at all.
Yeah.
So it literally just peels right off of there. So I was
Yeah,
like,
it's
we can
thick enough.
use those still, yeah, but other ones are hard pass. Maybe I'll give them out for free, the big ones, with like a t-shirt purchase or something, and just be like, at your own risk. It was free. Just remember that.
Yeah.
Because
Just remember this.
You have to be like very meticulous with how you take it off. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Aside from that though, like I feel like we're pretty fortunate to not have had too crazy of an experience with our merch. Like the t-shirts turned out great. Like everything is just fallen into place as it should. I just hope everything goes smoothly. Like with my travel, y'all's travel, like I'm hoping and praying for that. And I'm just really looking forward to just being back in Pennsylvania again and being in a haunted location for such a huge Paracon and being able to say I'm a part of it.
Yeah.
Like what? So fun, so cool, super exciting, so much to look forward to. We are days away from being reunited. Also, I wanted to say we're vlogging this.
Yep. I told Mom already. I was like, full disclosure. I was like, you're gonna at the very least be in the background of a lot of videos, so just be prepared for that. Like,
yeah, I haven't broken the news to my mom yet, but she'll be
what is
fine.
happening?
She'll be fine. I'm just glad that this time around I have someone helping me drive.
I know, right?
Of course, it's not
what you're trying to say
at
Mads.
all.
I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Not your fault at all. But I hate driving. I am a passenger princess through and through. So when we went to Wyoming and you did all the driving, I was like, this is the best thing ever. Because usually I'm driving.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
I hear you, dude, because
So-
I'm always a passenger princess, too. I'm like,
Passenger princess, yeah.
yeah, so, Mom, I'm just holding this sideways. I'm going to sound far away again.
I know, me too. I keep like checking myself.
Yeah, I told Mom, I was like, how do you feel about travel vlogs? Because we're taking the red eye. So, like, literally, when we fly from Casper to Denver, we land at a reasonable time, right? 7:30-ish at night. But when we get on our plane to go to Philly, 11:59 p.m., I'm like, why don't y'all just make it fucking midnight? Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Anyways, so, actually, that's when the flight leaves, so we'll be boarding before that. But I was like, Mom, how do you feel about travel vlogs? Like, we're gonna be like, oh, it's 10:30 and we're walking around the Denver airport. Like,
The legendary Denver airport.
could go try to find, like, the Illuminati stuff there while we're there, I guess.
Ew, what?
You don't know about that?
No.
Oh, that's a whole different podcast, homie.
Oh
We'll have
my
to talk
gosh.
about that one later.
Yeah, we need to talk about that.
There's
soon.
like this whole conspiracy theory. The Denver airport's associated with the Illuminati. There's signs all over the place. There's like tunnels underneath. It's a whole fucking thing. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't recall seeing anything that stood out to me like that. But I like that airport. Their bathrooms are so cool. Like,
well, that's because they've
hello?
upgraded. I promise. Like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's just like you
But yeah.
step out of the bathroom and like your sink, you're just greeted with like seeing all the planes and like
I know.
them coming to the terminals and stuff. So cool.
Yeah.
I eat that shit up. I love planes.
You're
I'm
like, this
so
is
weird.
A whole experience.
Dude, I like literally I'm obsessed with planes and I will be flying towards the end of the year again, but it's going to be a different experience because I'm going to be like with my whole family.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be weird.
Dude, I'm obsessed with planes too, but like almost in like the obsession's weird. Like
It is weird,
I love to watch like, you ever watch like Mayhem in the Skies or like
Yeah.
Worst air disasters and stuff like that?
Okay, I don't be watching like that, but like what I like to watch is like planes taking off and landing because like I live near an airport, so like I live close enough to where like, and you can vouch for this too because you live super close to an airport, but like when a plane is landing or about to land around here, you can hear them braking. Super cool. I don't know what it is, but it's so like fascinating to me just like watching them take off and like, I don't know. I'm super weird. Maybe it's the tism.
I'm surprised you don't want to like become a stewardess or something.
I'm going to be honest with you. Completely transparent here. I'm not the biggest fan of flying. I will do it and I would prefer to fly in any scenario. Like this week, I wish we were flying so bad, but it is so expensive to fly from Charlotte to Philadelphia. It's
Oh my god. I won't even tell you how much our plane tickets cost.
I don't even. Oh, like Philly is, I don't know what it is, but
Super
it's
expensive.
expensive. It's
Yeah,
expensive.
it is.
So, and what blows my mind is that Charlotte to Philly is a frequent flight, but whatever. But I'm just not I don't think I would feel comfortable enough to be a stewardess. I thought, like, when I was a kid, like a teenager, I was like, like planes enough. This was before I flew. I was like, I like planes enough. Maybe I could be like a flight attendant.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't like it enough. I really don't.
I thought about one point, I was like, do I want to be a pilot? And then I was like, no, I don't.
No.
No, I don't.
No, but I like watching it. I'm fine with watching it.
Can we pretend that airplanes in the night sky like shooting stars?
Well, should we get into our topic?
I guess.
Don't act so bummed. Jesus. This is a good one, but let me tell you guys, like, there wasn't as much information on it, which makes it even more of a mystery. And it's just very interesting because, like, I always thought that it was a topic that would have a ton of information on it. Like, maybe it's not as mainstream as, like, the pyramids. Because, like, the pyramids have such, like, a plethora of information that you can just, like, spend forever doing your research. But this time it was different. So I will give you a little bit of a story before we get into our ideals on it, because I think it's necessary to world build, if you will, and provide some sort of background as to why this was so important. So Burgundy.
Wait, hold on. Before you go rolling here, real quick, because you said, because you said there's like not a lot of info or whatever. You know what is interesting to me? I shit you not, like I said, like all I did today while I was peeling stickers is like made my mom, because mom was helping with the stickers. I was like, we gotta do podcast research, and we watched so many YouTubes on this topic, and they all say the same three things. That's the only information that there is. And so, however, when I was on TikTok like a week ago, trying to find some just basic info to start with, right? Just like ease myself in, I'm like, I got 10 minutes. I'll watch these TikToks. There's a couple theories that I found interesting, but then when you try to research these theories,
there's nothing.
Like it does, like the Google thing, that like the basic Google search doesn't even pop anything.
Nothing.
It's like, what?
It makes it even more interesting, and we'll get into like some of my own personal theories that I've always had as well. I'm interested in the ones that you were able to find, because like so many people, like they've heard of this topic before. Which, do you want to tell everyone what this topic is?
We're talking about the Library of Alexandria. I was gonna originally, we discussed the burning of it, but like Mad said, there's not a lot of altering info. Like I got the same 3 facts over and over again, and it's like 2 cents worth of facts for each thing every time. So it's like,
so I guess first, let's just start from the beginning, because I feel like if I let myself get too off topic, it'll be chaotic all over the place. Like last week I was like, and this, and this, and this, because
Fearbids episode though, like,
yeah, I just get so excited when it comes to this kind of thing. But
you know what happens to me is I get all these thoughts in my head, and I'm trying to keep them straight, but then you'll say something that starts like another thought, or it like connects with one of my thoughts, and I was like, me too, but also this part of it, and then it spirals, and then it's all over the place, and I'm like, I can't keep up with my own thought process here. You know what I mean? Like,
it's so hard. Like, and even though like the information is limited, there's still a lot of information as well.
Yeah.
So we're really just going to start from the very beginning.
History-wise, there's a lot of information.
There's a lot of information history-wise. Which,
theory-wise,
not really.
Kind of mystery-wise, there's not, other than the fact that the whole thing is just a mystery.
It really is.
You know what I mean?
It really is.
Like, the thing as itself is a mystery, but like some of the
just
theories, like I said, I heard, well, there's really just one that I like kind of found interesting, that I'm like, I can't find any information about this though. Like, why did we think this in the first place?
And see, that's the thing, that just like, it's like, why? How did we even get here?
Yeah.
You know, like I always thought it was just, and that's why I chose this topic as one of our mysteries, because I always heard one thing, and it was that the Library of Alexandria was burned, but I just took it as fact, and I never really heard much else about it.
Which is not true.
Yeah.
But it didn't all be consumed by one fire. It wasn't the end all be all demise of the whole thing. Wasn't the one topic. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. Which we'll get into that.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. Here's my crusty finger. Hey, I wish I had something green. Lick my finger.
It's oopy and goopy and kind of sticky.
Yes!
Lick my finger.
It's green.
Dude, I love Marcus.
Robert,
so much.
I discharged.
I discharged my fluid.
Like, what?
My favorite's when he's just like shows up and he's like, you want some shrimp?
Dude, I showed him to my mom, and she's like, he's not even a worm. And I was like, that's
the thing he
the
looks
point.
the most like, though.
That's the only thing that he kind of looks like.
Other than a turd.
Yeah, he does kind of look like that. It's so funny. Anyway,
off topic. We can't go down the Marcus rabbit hole again.
Because it will just get chaotic. I mean,
there
it's
was
so
a new
funny.
episode this week, though. I think I sent it to you.
You might have. I may have even watched it. But this week was chaotic. I just, life is crazy. So, here I am. I'm about to get serious, but all I can think about is Marcus.
And scene. No, I'm just kidding.
I used to do that in high school. So, like, I'm a pro. Duh.
Can you do that?
Yeah. Oh, I just hit the mic. That kind of it like burned me. Okay, anyway.
Listening
right.
check. You just flick the mic.
It's like,
are you there?
what's going on?
Oh my gosh, we could be people's wake up, like their alarms or something.
Wake up. Wake up.
You're welcome. R.I.P.
We need
anyone
to be-
listening in headphones.
I know, right? We need to be our own wake up alarms. So anyway, so first and foremost, Alexandria, where the Library of Alexandria was built, okay?
Gently put this down. Sorry, keep talking.
A lot of people probably heard about Alexandria. I know that I had a very intense fascination with Cleopatra in high school.
That
And
explains all of this. Okay, continue.
it does actually, because like relearning the history. I don't think, you know what? Pause. I don't think I ever really learned much of the history of the city of Alexandria itself. It's just one of those cities that were mentioned in texts when I was learning about Cleopatra, because we had an assignment in AP, not US history, obviously. AP, not Lang. AP Lang. Something like that. And our assignment was like, we needed to take one character in history and we needed to like educate ourselves about them, like pick one book that we were supposed to read for like the first like X amount of time in the semester, whatever. And I was like, okay. Well, actually, you have it for a whole year. Okay. That is completely irrelevant. Anyway, I just remember reading Alexandria very frequently. And to be honest with you, like, I don't think my brain ever computed that Alexandria was in Egypt. But it makes so much sense. Like, it ended up being the capital of Egypt as time goes on. But starting from the beginning, Alexander the Great is the one who founded Alexandria. And oddly enough, what drove him to found Alexandria, the drinks. What started him to found Alexandria was that he had a prophetic dream by the Egyptian god Amun to find an illustrious city and build it up. So he found this piece of land in the Mediterranean that was absolutely beautiful. It had all kinds of, like the way that it sat in the Mediterranean, it was excellent for imports and exports, for people to visit. That was a huge thing back then because people, of course, traveled by water a lot. Usually within, short distances in the ancient world, at least to my knowledge. But, we always hear about Alexander the Great and we think to ourselves, like, we think of him as this warrior, and he was a warrior, like he is one of the most famous warriors in history. So what would Alexander the Great want with a library, What's crazy is, and I don't know how many people actually know this, but Alexander the Great was educated by the famous Aristotle, and he developed a intense love for learning. So he deemed that Alexandria would be like the number one source of learning in the world, or the world as they know it, of course. And Alexander planned to build a warehouse of science and literature, a teaching institute at the heart of the city, and a library that would be a source of mental stimulation, which is absolutely amazing. Just thinking about how much the ancients at that time, like, they valued learning, and they valued, they worked hard, but they played hard as well. So it's just very interesting how our society has seemingly halted that progression because they just had a hunger that we just don't have anymore, unfortunately. And it's very sad. But all of this considered, Alexander unfortunately did not get to see at least the library built. This all was occurring in 332 BC. Don't know if I said that. So it wasn't until, let me double check here. Sorry, this is a lot of history. If you don't like history, I'm sorry, but I promise there's no point to it.
I have it pulled up if you want it.
What?
It's 283 BCE when Ptolemy first, the Soter, he was the one who actually founded the institution.
Yes. Yeah, he's the one that founded yeah, and he's also the one that made Alexandria the capital of Egypt. And what's so interesting too is that, just kind of flopping to the present a little bit, what we do know based off of what is left of, historical texts, is that the library lasted for 6 centuries, 600 years. A crazy amount of time, and also a crazy amount of time to harbor and consistently obtain more and more information. So imagine how many books, scrolls, texts,
everything
just
that I heard
everything.
or read. Yeah, they said anywhere between 40,000 and 400,000 scrolls. And that is like vastly different numbers.
Yeah, very vastly different. I would, based off of it being estimated to have existed for 6 centuries, I would say it would probably be closer to 400,000.
You would think, yeah.
And so what still stands today is the Serapeum, that it was like or what they believed to be the extension of the Library of Alexandria. Mm-hmm. And it was just for overflow. So
that's the temple, right? Is that what you're talking about?
I don't think it's a temple. I don't know. I was kind of in and out, but it was definitely, I just remember it being called I hope I said that, Serapeum, I think. Yeah. But also, let's see here.
So
yeah,
while Mads is checking her notes real fast, they had said that the Library of Alexandria would be considered almost like a modern day university.
Yeah.
It was a place scholars went, there was people that lived on site to do nothing but study and transcribe more scrolls and copy books and just keep studying. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it is believed that the most famous scholars in history studied at Alexandria. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the texts that we do have today more than likely may not have been able to exist without copies being made in the Library of Alexandria. Mm-hmm. And transported out, right? So there was a lot of scribe work going on, a lot of education going on, and based off of at least what historians believe, these people lived, worked, socialized all in the Library of Alexandria. They made it was their whole life, essentially. Mm-hmm. So going back to Ptolemy the First, he is the one that started this collection of books. Apparently it's a very Greek thing to want to collect all of these books. I don't know if it's just collecting as a whole or just books, but it was something that he wanted and he pushed for, and his goal was to obtain every written work ever at that time. Okay, so that is insane. So much so that they developed a trade system to obtain these texts. And also when ships came in, they would confiscate their freaking texts. Like, if they
Yeah.
had any books, they would confiscate them.
Took them, copied them, and then gave them back. Could you imagine? You like show up to a city and they're like, they just like board your boat and they're just like, I need all of the books you have on this vessel
right now.
Right
now. Freaking now.
Yeah, we'll give them back, but I want them now.
It's like stepping off the ship and you're like, oh, the city of knowledge. And then like immediately they're like, give me your books. And you're like, damn, now I see why.
I know that Captain Jack Sparrow is a fictional character, but could you imagine? He just rolls up.
Instead of the rum, he's like, give me your books, please.
I would love to see that. There should be a movie like
Amen.
Pirates of the Caribbean. It's just like
Pirates of the Mediterranean set in ancient Egypt.
Yep. Yeah, that would be great.
That would be so fun.
12 out of 10 would love that.
So what's crazy too about the Library of Alexandria, like we're taking all this in, like we're hearing all this history. We're like, whoa, like Ptolemy is wanting to like obtain all of the text ever. Like he's confiscating books off ships that are coming in port. Like, whoa, like there must have been so much information in the Library of Alexandria. And the fact of the matter is there was so much so that to this day, like Berg was stating earlier, we don't know how much they had, but I can tell you there is so much that was lost that it's probably unfathomable. All the writings and like texts that we will never get to see.
But
like,
but
you know,
in the theory realm of all of that, sorry to jump in here, but it just goes along.
No,
with what you're
it's
saying.
okay.
The question is, did we really lose that much? Because if everything was a copy, or the majority of it, right? Because it is theorized that some of our, some of the scholars wrote books there, right? But if a lot of it was just copies of other books, did we really lose? That's the true question. Nobody knows what we actually lost. We have no proof of what we actually lost. So, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop? The world may never know.
And what's crazy too is that like all of this stuff that I'm telling you, a lot of it is factual based off of the context clues that historians have been able to take little pieces of and put together into this puzzle of just like not knowing what the fuck is going on, because they don't know anything about the Library of Alexandria. Not factually. It's all based off belief.
I don't know, Mads, if you were able to find any differing information than I was, but I couldn't. But I almost was like, how do we even know the damn thing existed? Like, it's not there. We have no proof of it. And so, like Mads said, contextual clues from other people's journaling, other people's writings. They've mentioned this library. That's why we know it exists. That's how we know it was out there at one point. I'm like, the building itself, I believe, was turned into a church, if I'm not mistaken.
Are you talking about what's still left
part
of it? The Seraphim or Seraphim?
Maybe. The actual library itself. Oh, there was a piece of it that was turned into a church. I just can't remember.
It must be. It has to be the Seraphim then, because that's all that's left of it.
Let me see if it's in here. And that was in one of the stories too about one of the burnings, though. I think.
Yeah. So what's interesting is getting back to the burning history of it. So like I was saying earlier, is that I always took it as just pure fact that the Library of Alexandria burned down. That's just what I always believed. But the fact of the matter is that what historians more than likely believe, it's more of a popular belief, isn't that it burnt, but where that came from is that during the reign of Cleopatra, a civil war began between her and her husband, who was her brother. That's what the Egyptians did back then. And a fire was set during the Civil War to burn the ships in the harbor of Alexandria. But supposedly, based off their belief, it ended up coming towards past the docks and into the city. And the Roman historian Plutarch claims that the library was burnt accidentally, and that's just what apparently he believed. But what's funny, though, is that it's still like, I don't know exactly, because like what I was saying, they don't even know if it really even existed, which is so strange to me. But it is believed that the library may had actually been destroyed by Christians in around 400 AD. But that's also not a popular theory. That's probably like the last theory that historians believe, even over the burning. I think the burning would take the second. The more popular belief theory is when the Muslims marched through and invaded Alexandria in around 642 AD. That is when the library was burned.
Actually destroyed, yeah.
Like actually burned and or destroyed.
Yeah.
That is the most popular theory. So like,
you know,
that's
what's funny
crazy.
about that theory though? That theory wasn't written for like 3 centuries after the fact.
Which is weird. It's so weird.
So they're like, actually, this might not be. So real quick, back to just so everyone
Go ahead.
knows I got my facts straight. Okay, so I'm on factbrainiac.com/the burning of the Library of Alexandria myths and history. So this sentence here: the story grows more complex in the Christian era around 391 CE. Patriarch Theophilus, don't know if I said that right, oversaw the conversion of the Serapeum into a Christian church.
Okay, there we go.
And so there was between Christians, what was it? It was Christians, pagans, and something else. Some other religion. There was always
so the
a
Christians,
lot of like religious war happening.
Yeah, the Christians at that time and continued, like, you know, obviously like the Crusades later in the like 1st, 2nd century. There was a lot of war as to what was right. The Crusades were, you know, trying to gain the Holy Land back, but this one was more of what the church believed was like, I guess the church was really kind of thinking, you know, this isn't a Christian library, like it needs to be destroyed. But funny enough, with all of that history considered, one of the more popular theories of modern day, out of all the videos that I watched, is that there are a lot of people who think that when, you know, like the Christians went and invaded the Library of Alexandria, that instead they took all of that information for themselves, and it is in the Vatican City.
Yep.
To this day.
Vaults.
In the vault, like, you know, the infamous vault in the Vatican that nobody's able to enter. Like, it's a whole thing. So it's crazy. I mean, like,
that's
there's
the thing, though. I could not find any fact on that at all.
No.
Or like there's no research. There's no even theory. You know how people have like conspiracy theory websites? Nothing. I couldn't find a damn thing, Mads. Because I heard that too. But I was like,
yeah,
I want to know more. And I can't find more.
Like, where did this come from? Like, does somebody just think, what if it's in the Vatican? I guess that's what it just happened like that, where somebody was just like, guess it's in the Vatican. Do you think it's in the Vatican? Nice. We have a theory.
But I mean, again, to keep it relevant to our whole podcast, right? For example, again, there has to be some reasoning behind that, why that was said, right? Because we always talk about like mythical creatures, for example, where like somebody somewhere thought they saw something, which is how these things start. So somebody somewhere knew something that saw or heard something, and that's how these things start. So another theory I heard was that, and it was this is all I have for you. I have nothing else because I couldn't find anything else. But people theorized that when Julius Caesar burned the library accidentally, that it was actually on purpose so that they could steal scrolls.
I've heard that. That's the most.
And I'm like,
you know what? That one's definitely the most famous. Like, Caesar is blamed a lot for that, which is crazy because I really don't think he's the cause of it, to
But
be
why are they
completely
stealing
honest.
scrolls? Because if you think about it, all of the scrolls are just text that was stolen to begin with. So
Yep.
it's like, what's the reasoning behind that? And then the other thing, the other factual piece of all of this too, is that like, so they're saying that the library really, like, there was no actual one fire that ruined the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
They're just saying over time the library just diminished with various factors, such as
Yeah.
there were 3 fires supposedly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Each of which destroyed a percentage of what was there. Most of these scrolls back then were written on papyrus, which is
Papyrus. Yep.
not sustainable anyways. Like,
Mm-mm.
people said that one of the videos I watched, the guy was saying that they would have to have permanent transcribers in there just doing nothing but repeating
Right.
all of the text for like decades to really keep up with all of this stuff.
Yep.
Um yeah, and then there are some other things too, like people said that the library edition originally was like used as like a political type of environment, and
Yeah.
so that drove out a lot of the scholars and the people that were trying to do research there. And then there was also just like funding dwindled after that, and people just, like they said, like people just lost interest in trying to keep up the library, so it
Yeah.
just kind of slowly diminished over time. There was not one set event that really destroyed everything.
Which could really be it because, these days we go through so many conservation techniques. Like the things that have survived as long as they have, it's because of centuries and centuries of people who found it, like certain items, valuable enough to try to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very hard, like very, very hard to try to properly maintain something like papyrus. Like
Right.
it is just very difficult. And, I'm going to be honest with you though, like even though I think that that is very like solid in what could have happened to it, it just kind of fell away from history. I still wonder what happened to everything, because I know that like what you were saying is that what if we didn't lose everything?
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't think that that's the case either, because we are so not as advanced as you would think we would be. You know what I'm saying? Like, one thing that this is kind of controversial, but I have personally believed for a very long time that we have never been to the moon.
Yeah,
I know that
I
that's
don't.
controversial.
No, I mean, it
Really,
doesn't make sense. The math is now mathing on
the
that one.
math isn't mathing because why haven't we been back? And
Yeah.
like, that's just one of the very, like, it's not the best example, but it's just kind of like, okay, so back in the day, like what we were talking about last week with the building of the pyramids, if they did not have help from another realm, which for the sake of this episode, we're going to say they didn't. They were just knowledgeable enough,
Yeah.
because at that time they had lived for a couple thousand years. They probably had evidence. And you know what? Alexandria was in Egypt. So we question to this day, where are the blueprints?
Were they there?
Were they there?
Were they burnt? Were
Were
they
they
lost
burnt?
in the fire?
Were they destroyed? Like what? And like, I also think about very frequently, like this is literally something I think about at least once or twice a week, is how, like the ancient Romans even,
Mm-hmm.
like Egyptians aside, like I know a lot of them were Greek and whatever, like the Ptolemies were Greek. But the crazy thing is, in the Colosseum in its earliest days actually had battles, like ship battles in the Colosseum. Like they figured out a system to be able to lift water into the Colosseum to have these naval battles. Like, fake ones, right? And then be able to lower it back. Not only that, the ancient Romans also had a plumbing system. Explain to me, this is the craziest thing to me. Explain to me that after the Library of Alexandria, after the turn of the century, of course, many of you guys know. If you don't, hi. One of my favorite topics in history that I am obsessed with is the 1400s and the 1500s, Wars of the Roses era English, like English medieval history, okay? And what fascinates me so much is that we go from the ancients who lived 2,000 years before medieval times, right? And like we feel like medieval times were forever ago, okay? At that time, like it's just, I don't know, like, how did they not have plumbing? Why were we not more advanced? Why was there literal plumbing systems under the city of Rome that are still used today, by the way? Like, it has sustained itself enough to go past 2,000, 3,000 years. Like, why were we not advanced enough in medieval times? Like, shouldn't we have been in the position that we're in now in 1400, 1500? Like, it feels like there is some sort of big event that was lost to history, whether it was the Library of Alexandria or what it was, that has set us back somehow. Because it just does not make logical sense for us to have built pyramids at the exact, like north, south, east, west points, only 10, however many meters apart. Centimeters, was it centimeters apart? Like each side was only like within a certain amount. Okay.
10 centimeters off, yeah.
So like, why were they able to build stuff like that, but medieval people were living in huts?
I have like generalized thoughts on this, and it's just general, okay? So I feel like, you know how they say like humans only use 10% of their brain's capacity?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why, right? This is just a theory again, so nobody come after me for this. But there's reason, and we're not supposed to know. That's exactly it. We're just not supposed to know, right? There's a reason, like, we start to get too advanced, we're reset. Does that make sense? Like, people start to push that envelope a little bit too far, and the great powers that be are like, nope. You can't, you don't get a no yet. We have to push you back.
Interesting.
I feel like, and it's weird, Mads, but I feel like you could start to tie this together with everything, right? Because, like, we've talked about, I like to think that we're originally from Mars, okay? Mm-hmm. We're the aliens on this planet. We weren't meant to be here. We took over this planet, and we're honestly going to be the demise of this planet. Shoot me if you want to. It is what it is. You know what I mean? I know, like, people are like, fuck it, shut the fuck, who cares? But I just think that it all could be connected. Like, yeah, we're the aliens, and, like, we're on this planet for a reason, and we were the demise of Mars to begin with, so it's like we are not ready for that point in time yet. Like I said, the powers that be are like, you're pushing this too fast, or maybe you guys are going too slow. I'm gonna reset you so that you remain on the path I want you to be on. It's in my timeline, not yours.
That's so interesting. I've never thought like that.
I'm not saying I fully think that either. I just like to theorize.
It's just a theory.
Things.
Yeah.
I like to go different directions with different shit all the time because why not? Just for fun. It's just fun for me.
Yeah, it is fun. And, like, what's crazy too is, and this was also unbelievable, that in the documentary that I was watching, I did not know this, okay? Ancient philosophers and astronomers knew that the Earth was round, okay?
Yeah.
That sounds like it's not groundbreaking, but let me tell you why. It is, okay? Christopher Columbus was often credited with being the first person to know that the Earth was round.
Can I put like my conspiracy
in 1492? Tell me.
Conspiracy theory hat here, right? Our governments tell you what they want you to think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, see, what's crazy too, okay? So, like, I find it fascinating. All right. So, like, us in the United States, we live in a very large country, okay?
Mm-hmm.
To where it takes
Landmass
hours
wise.
and, yeah, landmass wise, it takes hours and days to get from one coast to the other, okay? If you're driving by car, over a day. If you're flying, at least 5.5, 6 hours, right? So, and that's from like the tip of one coast to the tip of the other.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying, right? So, when we had Allie on our podcast, she was born and raised in Pensacola, Florida. If I remember that correctly. I know it was definitely Florida.
Sounds
And
right.
I was, obviously born and raised in North Carolina. And these two states are very important to United States history because my state was the very first English colony that was settled, and it wasn't a successful one. And it is actually a topic that we will be discussing later on down the road in the season, the famous lost colony. The circumstances of it, I have a lot of things to say about it, but I grew up thinking, just in my little small noggin, you know, that was the first settlement ever. I was just kind of like thinking in as far as like, we know, of course, Christopher Columbus was credited with being the first to find the Americas, which he really truthfully found the Caribbean. But I just, in my head, like I was saying, like I just thought they were the first. Like these English settlers were the first that came to North Carolina. And Allie made an excellent point, like just bringing it up on the podcast, where like the first like actual settlers were Spanish, and they came to Florida first.
St. Augustine, Florida.
In St. Augustine.
I
So
only know that because I just went there last November. So-
very, very, very historical. And like that's the thing too, is that like the differing opinions thing, like you just don't know what you're gonna get, like based off of where you're from. It can be so different. Like a lot of my focus in school was that it was the lost colony, like yes, like I think I didn't learn about, truthfully, swear to gosh, this is the honest truth, I did not learn about the Spanish settlements of like St. Augustine until I was in AP US history at my 11th grade year of high school. My whole life it was always about the lost colony and like the Roanoke settlement, and then of course the famous Virginia Company settlement that was founded a little bit later, and then of course the Plymouth Rock one that we celebrate Thanksgiving for. And it's like, it's just crazy, it's crazy the information that you're given based off of your location in the country.
Yeah. I don't want to
Like,
go
what?
down that. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But like I said, they tell you what they want you to know.
They do. And so, yeah, that's exactly where I was like, how did we even get on this topic? But they tell you what they want you to know. And like our state clearly wanted us to know, yeah, there's a lot of importance about this colony. And I get it. It is important because, just to give you a little taste of what we're going to be talking about, who I am today, being a dark-haired woman with blue eyes, that is absolutely unheard of in history, really, until here recently. And it is a genetic mutation, I'm aware. But some of it has to do with one of the theories being in the Lost Colony that the settlers ended up being a part of the Native American tribe that was there, and they started like having children and like getting married, and they produce dark-haired, blue-eyed babies, right? Like that's what Sir Walter Raleigh found when he came back and he saw like the settlers, whatever. Can't wait to get to that. It's one of my favorite things in history ever. One of the best mysteries. But all of that to say is that the government controls a lot. And there is so much we truly don't know. And I think, as far as the Library of Alexandria goes, I will tell you, in a lot of things that I have learned in like my historical research, Egypt is very, very, very strict about what they allow people to look into. Like, there is so much work that goes into getting rights to be able to like excavate and do stuff like that. Like,
but I kind of feel like it's been that way since the dawn of time for Egypt, honestly.
oh, 100%, and there's a reason.
Even in this whole topic of the Library of Alexandria, it's pretty prevalent. So, yeah, I don't like. It's wild to me though. Back to the whole, they knew the Earth was round way back when. It's like all of those like. There's a whole it's all of the important people. I'm not going through the whole list, but like they were like literally within like 200 miles of the actual numbers, and like they were so almost correct, like within a small margin. And it's just crazy to think that they had none of the advancements in technology and anything we had today. And it's just like, again, like last week we're like, man, people are just like, humanity is getting dumber in a sense, but it's almost like it's meant to be that way on purpose.
Possibly. Like kind of getting into the Bible, like as our, as we're wrapping this up, but like maybe there could have been something with, Jesus coming. And then, of course, Jesus's birth brought in, Anno Domini AD, what we're presently living in. Something could have occurred in history that changed everything. And there has been a lot of popular theories about the Catholic Church. I'm not going to get too into it. Well, no, not so much that as just like the things that they have done throughout history and the things like a lot of people believe that they have altered the Bible and they have left pieces of the Bible out that they weren't ever supposed to touch. And there could be a possibility of that for sure, which is very unfortunate, but you can't control what happened 1,000 years ago, right? So, it's just something to think about too, is that like what valuable information could have potentially been removed? We don't know.
Well, do you remember last week when I said that part of the problem is like scientific facts and stuff come from like the opinion really, and even the bias of the people that are like looking into these things. And so it wouldn't surprise me if the Catholic Church have left out pieces of the Bible or changed pieces of it, because honestly, most people who are in leadership positions in any sort of situation go at things from selfish intent. Yep. And so that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And of course, like, I'm not Catholic, so I have, strong opinions on that section of the church. I think that it's very interesting, but I've heard that many a time, and I just think that there could potentially be some truth to it. Fact of the matter is, at the end of the day, like, there is something missing somewhere, and we don't know what it is. And of course, that's just theory, but it just really, really feels like it. Maybe we did have a reset. There's a possibility of that. But I also, like, kind of in my mind, I don't think God created us only to just make us take a step back. But maybe, I don't know. That's his thing. Like, maybe that is what happened. I don't know. We'll never know. But it's very, very fascinating if you let yourself go down this, like, rabbit hole of information. Because it's like, you could really just be like, but what if? It just, one thing I do want to say just to end it. How the frick did they come up with geometry?
I don't know.
Like, did they just
come up with anything, to be honest with you?
Like, okay, the stars in the sky, get it, because that's physical. That's there. you know?
Okay, but like, how do you even come to the conclusion of all the knowledge we have of the stars in the sky?
Yeah,
Now? Like, because like,
they
you're like
were
looking
doing
up
that.
and you see like, what are those things in the air? Like, what for one?
Like,
Do they even know what air was at that time? Do
I
we even
know.
comprehend air yet?
But you know what? If they knew that, and here's another thing too that they ended up finding out, okay? That we ourselves, I forgot what philosopher it was or whatever he was, figured out that the sun wasn't rotating around the planet. It was the planet rotating around the sun. How? This is in ancient times, y'all. Ancient times. But then in medieval times, they were out here. Now listen, let me just say this real quick. Medieval people were not as unclean as people think that they were. However, that does not mean that their streets were not absolutely filthy with human feces, urine, you name it, horse shit, all of it. But how were they doing that in medieval times? But they knew that the planet was going around the sun in ancient times. Like, can someone, that's why, like, when you really sit there and think about it, you're like, what is that?
But what if we throw back to the pyramid discussion? What if aliens were involved?
Could have been. You know, that was one of the things I looked up. I was like, Library of Alexandria, aliens. Nothing comes up. So clearly it's not a theory that people really think aliens are connected to, which is very interesting because if it's widely believed that aliens were involved with the pyramids, why would they not be involved with the Library of Alexandria or XX and X? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's all fun to theorize.
It's just very interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Sure. Did you have anything else that you wanted to say?
No. Really.
Okay, good. I think we did really good this episode.
Yeah. Okay, so next week. Next week is up in the air as far as if we have a podcast or not. Because as we had mentioned previously at the beginning, we will be at Pennhurst. So we're bringing stuff to make a podcast episode. Doesn't mean
possibly, yeah.
Kind of just depends on what's going on. So
we don't know where we'll be.
Stay tuned for that.
Yeah, we don't know where we'll be at this time next Saturday night. We could be.
Let's see.
I don't know. I was about to say something super messed up, and I've decided not to because I've been watching.
That's for Fear Babes After Dark.
Yeah, I've been watching way too much Queso. He says some crazy stuff, y'all. Like, oh, that man.
You know what we could do though if we don't release an actual podcast, we could release our other repo video on YouTube. We haven't posted it
You have a point. You have a point.
I don't know if you'll hear from us next week. You could.
We'll see.
We'll find out. If not, you will hear from us the following week, which will be the 25th.
Yeah.
So.
For sure. You will hear from us.
Actually, Maz, I have to talk to you about that offline.
I'm in trouble. I'm just kidding.
Just kidding.
All right. Well.
Sorry. I've been doing that this whole time. I just usually mute for it. Allergies. So, yeah.
Word.
Anyways, if you like this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe wherever you're listening. Also, go follow us on all social media platforms at Fear Babes. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, babes. We hope. Yes. Wait. I would do that, but.
Wow. Oh, shut up. What the heck?
Turn the camera off.
Okay, bye.
Bye. No. If you like this episode, I hope you did. Let us know because we love doing histories, mysteries. It's fun.
Except for when we can't find any info on the good stuff.
Yeah. So, bye, babes. That's my second time. Peace. Deuces. Hope to see you next week at Pennhurst.
Hey, I'll see you next weekend.
I'll see you next week.
Hopefully I'll see you, but I'll see you for sure.
Dog's barking. Bye.